Welcome everybody. What we're going to do today is make some capsules. I have some N-Acetylcysteine here, and what I want to do is put this powder that I got from Amazon through bulk supplements. I want to take this powder and make some capsules out of it. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that N-Acetylcysteine is useful for a lot of things. Clinically, it's used as an antidote for Tylenol poisoning. If you take too much acetaminophen, it generates a bunch of free radicals in the liver, which does a lot of damage. N-acetylcysteine is converted into glutathione in the body, and that is a powerful antioxidant. It also has potent anti-inflammatory properties. So it's one of the few molecules that crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it makes glutathione in the brain, and as a result it acts as an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory in the brain. There are many psychiatric illnesses that this can be useful for. We use for people with severe restless states, states such as cutting, bulimia, anorexia, obsessive compulsive things. I mean, a lot of things. And what its mechanism of action is unclear to say specifically what it's doing, but we do know that increased inflammation in the brain does result in mood disturbance. Okay? Increased inflammation can completely knock out your motivation. The reward circuit and the pleasure circuits are supposed to be connected. If you have elevated inflammation, there are certain cytokines such as interleukin 6 and interleukin 1 beta that can interfere with that connection and take out your motivation. So N-acetylcysteine is very good for that. And the dosage varies depending on the severity of the illness. I like it for a number of reasons. I give this to my cat because he has a mucus problem in his ureters. So once a week I put a little in his cat food so that his mucus won't be so thick, so I don't have to give him a sex change the next time he has a plug like he did the last time. They said if it happened again they were going to switch him over. And thinking of him, I decided to put a little N-acetylcysteine in his food rather than go through the surgery. Anyway, today's not so much about N-acetylcysteine, but about this particular pill capsule filling device. Now I do have on YouTube a video on a previous capsule filling device that filled 50 capsules at a time. Worked very good. I used it for like a year, and then I discovered there's another one out there that in the same amount of time allows you to fill 100 capsules. Okay? So for those of you who want to fill 100 capsules at a time, this is a really cool machine. If you go to eBay, you want to get the 6-piece capsule filler, and I use 00. You can order it in whatever capsule size you like to make, but I use 00 for everything. But you want to get the 6-piece because if you get the 5-piece, you're not going to have this tamper. Okay? This tamper allows you to pack the substance into your capsules more tightly, so it gives you bigger bang for your buck. So you can buy this separately for about 20 bucks, but I like to get them all together. So you want to get if you get the 5-piece, then you want to buy your tamper separately, but if you get the 6-piece, the tamper comes included. It's pretty simple. The first time you do it, it might not feel simple, but it is, and just follow what I do and you'll be fine. Okay, so step 1. Fill the little, you have your capsules. I like the dual colored capsules, red and green or blue and white or whatever, so that the top, the long capsule, the long part of the capsule and the short part of the capsule are different colors. It's easier to separate them that way. And if you get mixed up, you can see your mistake right away. So step 1, separate your capsules into long and short pieces. Next, after that, you fill the short. You put the short capsules into the short container. I'm getting the words wrong. I don't know what you call this thing. Okay, this one. Okay, so there's 2 things that your capsule halves are going to sit in. The one that the holes go all the way through, that's not one of them. That comes later. So you have 2 of them where the holes go all the way through. Set those to a side for now. And now the ones where the capsules are going to sit, you have one that's on the springs here, okay, that's double. This is the one that the long capsules, the long half of the capsules are going, and this one, and these holes don't go all the way through. One side is covered, and then one side has holes. This is the one you use for the short side of the capsule, or the short half of the capsule. Okay, so step one is we fill the short half of the capsule. Alright, here are my separated capsule halves. I have the short black halves in this jar and the long red halves in this jar, and they go together. Okay, so we start with our short halves, and we take the base that you're going to put the short halves in. Set that down here. Okay, and then you take, I'll call it the cradle. Okay, the cradle is this boxy looking thing with this opening on one side. Okay, you take the cradle. Now notice the label here. These, if yours has these labels, this is really helpful, because these labels up here help you orient your sections of the device better. Okay, so you want to make sure that they overlap each other. So here you see the cradle, here you see the label, here's the label here, and they overlie one another. So you put the cradle on top of the short base. Okay, and set it down. Now, what does this cradle do? It holds the capsules in the capsule filler. Okay, so we take our short halves and you just pour it in. Oops, let's see if you see that. Okay, you just pour it in your device. Okay, just pour them in there. All right. Now, this is where it differs from the other capsule filler, in that rather than individually go boop 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 and put them in there, you shake it and you let them fall in all by themselves. This is what saves you a whole bunch of time. Okay, so you try to do a circular motion. Okay, and you do that, and what you'll notice then is that as you're doing that, the capsules are falling into place. Yeah, once they're falling into place here, then you pour off the excess. Okay, so take a look there. They're just about, in fact, all of the holes are now filled, every last one, but there's two of them here, this one and this one, that are upside down. What do you do with that? Very easy to fix. You take a capsule like this, okay, all right, and you go into the ones that are upside down, and you just do it like this, and you pull it out. Oops. Oh, first you can take this, you can take the cradle off now. Okay, all right. Okay, you see these two that are bad? I mean, they're not, they're just upside down. So you take your capsule and you use it to suction out the bad guy. Okay? And then put it in the right way. And then do it to the next one here. Plunge it out. And there you go. And now we're all set. In just a short amount of time, I've filled all 50 in the short capsules. Okay, now I do the same thing for the long ones. Now, the procedure doesn't work as well for the long ones, I must say. So again, here's my label here, and here's my label on the base. So here's my long base, and here's my cradle. So line up the labels here, so they go over one another. And now I go for my long halves. Pour them down here. And just like the short halves, same circular motion. Go around. Now, after each use, it is actually better if you throw the whole device into the dishwasher and get rid of the extra powder. If you have powder from a previous fill, then they develop a charge, and those charges will actually repel the capsules from going into the hole, and so you'll get fewer fills, especially of the long ones, if you're starting with the dirty capsule filling device. So if you can, now sometimes I'll sit down and I'll do 1,000 in one sitting and I won't clean them in between. You just accept it and just understand that you're going to have to fill more by hand when you do it that way. Okay, so I could continue doing this for an hour, but after a while you have to accept that you're not going to get 100% on these long guys, and so we're going to have to stop and fill the rest by hand. So I got about half of them here are in the hole, so the other half I'm just going to do by hand just to save time. So here we go. The reds, all of the long halves are in the long base. Next, we add our product and we want to fill the long half, okay? I'm going to fill the long half with product. So here's my N-Acetylcysteine. pour the product onto the base here. Now, the next step is where you take your spatula and you even it out to try to get your product into the long half of the capsules. So this is the way you're supposed to do it. Personally though, I found it's faster if I just use my hands, because these pills are like for me, and so I don't mind my unsanitary hands. And so one way of doing it much faster is just use your hands and push them in. Okay, goes quicker. Alright, okay, after that we use our tamper device and set them down. This is similar to what you saw with the other machine. Now, N-Acetylcysteine is very granular, so basically one tamp and you're done. A lot of products are much fluffier and they compact a lot more, and so you go through 3 or 4 tamps. One tamp is all you need to do for N-Acetylcysteine because it has the consistency of like sugar. Okay, we're done. Okay, that's it. The long halves are filled. Okay, now I'm going to clean up my workspace here a little bit. Don't want to waste any product if I can help it. Okay, so now that we are full here, next we want to put our completed tops on top of the bottoms. Now if I turn this upside down and try to connect it the way it is, we're going to have a mess on our hands. Half of these are going to fall out and it's just not going to be pretty. So in order to stabilize these, to make the, to do the union where you put the tops and halves together, first you have to maintain the top halves in their current state. So again, here's this. Remember the piece that has holes all the way through it. Okay, this piece here. This is our spacer, and so here we see our label here. Here's the label here. So you want to line them up, and with these ones, with these holes, there is a big side and a little side. So if you look carefully at this, on one side the hole is smaller than the other. So we see a wide mouth on one side and a narrow mouth on the other. So you put this wide mouth down, okay? So on the side with the wider hole, that goes down, and you line up the labels, okay? There you go. That easy. Now you can turn this bad boy upside down and they stay. So put our bottoms down here, and then label to label, label to label. We put it over top. Okay? And now we're ready to do the big crunch. We're going to push down, and when we do, the top halves are going to connect to the bottom halves. Now I'm going to tell you right now, before you see this, we're going to lose some. This, even though you're doing it 100 at a time, there almost always are casualties. And some of this, because you're just, you didn't have to go through the work of putting all 100 in there, so you save time, but it's going to cost you a few gelatin capsules, because it will crush a few, so you won't get 100% usually, but usually over 90, okay? So here we go, I'm going to press down. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Okay, there we go, all crunched. Now we take things apart. Okay, here we see an example of our beautiful work here. N-Acetylcysteine has a sulfur smell, so it smells like somebody ate cabbage when you're doing this. Anyway, alright, so here's a couple. They look good. And I see one right now here that got destroyed. Okay, because see the pieces. I could feel it when I pushed down that some of these babies weren't cooperating. Now we dump them out and take a look at it. And let's see what kind of percentage we got here. How many bad ones? Okay, here's a bad one. Oh, these are good. Okay. Seriously? Only one bad one? Really? Oh my gosh. Okay, that was very successful. Only one bad capsule. 99%. Awesome. All right. So there you go. If you want to make 100 capsules at a time, the 6-piece capsule filler works beautifully. And now you know how to do it. Once you do it a few times, you'll become an expert too. And you will be able to whip out 100 capsules in about 8 minutes.